everyone. Yes, I'm back. Um, I remember when I put up the last video, but this is even more stuff. I am titling it How Many and Whys with messages in there. Um, all I could say is I hope there's a lot of different things in here, and I hope you do take the time. I don't know about the other videos or whatever, if you actually listen to all of it. But there is a question at the end. But the first two explains in between and all through all this. Well, I'll try not to have this too long because I have a lot to do. And okay. Well, the first thing that I hear, and first I want to say, for those ones who think they are the only ones who have problems and you want it better, then what are you doing to make it better? Stop thinking it's only your groups which is making it worse for you and for the other groups. That you're only making it worse for them who you have involved with your groups. Now, all of you know what you're doing. As I said, if it was just, sit there. That you're just sitting there. No, don't think or try to control others to just sit there and not do anything. Meaning, all those ones who are being quiet, don't. Okay? Don't you think, as I said, how many lives are taken? How many more missing will be on the list? How many ones are going to be fooled by clicking on something? How many are going to touch something, whatever these ones try giving to people in stores or wherever, leaving them wherever? I mean, they're even using religious stuff, laying it on the ground or around for someone to pick it up. How many children they have doing to lure whoever to the cars? How many? How many bullies are beating up people? Children beating other children up. How many people are being hanged? I mentioned in the other video what a 4th grader did to a 2nd grader, tried to hang him. How many do you think kids are betraying one another? How many are talking others into doing things that think it's fun? but not paying attention because what? All of them are doing it. How many before that saying, I don't need to do anything. My children don't do that. Let's not forget companies. It don't matter what companies, where they are, where you live. You know, it don't matter. Like what countries either. How many each one will let whatever it may be slide wherever you are? The ones who are there, as I said, plenty of times, they are ruining all of you little by little. If you all don't start stepping up to the front and coming together to put a stop. More are quiet. More, the wrong ones, will be arrested, deported, lose lives, going missing, and much more. Everyone knows who and what. You know where. Instead of waiting till too late, let's put a stop to it. Now, no one is interrupting anyone by doing what's right and saving lives. These ones are trying to bring back the scare tactics, and again, by telling ones, if you don't, if what, whatever, you know, they're stealing, they're harming, and much more. What do we want to teach, especially to our children? What do we want, for them? As I will say, after we should also be protecting each other. Companies should be protecting their customers, like phones should be protected. Again, they should be protecting their customers. This way, it don't get hacked and whatever else. It should detect all that BS automatically. And you guys should know who, what, and where they are. As I said, because everything is expensive, and it should have all of it automatically and legit. Not all the fake ones coming through to do whatever and lead ones wrong. How do you think all that's being done? Because ones who mislead also tells whoever to have access to whatever, say it's security codes. As I said, It's for whoever. It could be admins who are giving to whoever because, you know, someone broke up with someone. So now they're using their names and going after people, whatever. It's because of jealousy, hatred, and much more. You name it. No one should speak about any of that. If you're sober or drunk, doesn't matter. You should not talk about what goes on. As in, if you have, security codes or whatever, if you have that type of job, I don't know the name really, but you don't give out because who knows? They could like, oh, yeah, just talk about whatever. They could tell, their wives or their husbands, whoever says it, and then it gets out. And with admins or, whoever, just say that somebody broke up. If you broke up, they shouldn't have anything in the first place because it's a, boyfriend and girlfriend, first of all. And that person shouldn't have access to anything, first of all. And also, if they did, they shouldn't repeat it because they're mad for being broken up. So, and that's how it falls into wrong hands. If any wives, husbands say anything about work, don't repeat it to friends or family or whoever. And if you do break up, whoever has that important job or whatever, change the codes and whatever else. But still, it shouldn't be that you have to, don't take a risk. You still change it, but anyone, would say anything or could say anything, but it shouldn't still be told. Because why? Because you broke up or whatever. It's none of anybody's business. At one point, you trusted each other, you stayed with each other, etc., etc., etc. But because you broke up or whatever how, it's like having children. What happened to the both of you? You shouldn't take it out on the children. So you shouldn't take it out on each other either to do things because it just might get into the wrong hands. And what? And the other thing is, again, I'll explain all through. But the problem is, I don't know what's going on. It popped up. I saw big shutdown. And in it, it just said, government pays, income, health, Social Security, and a lot more. I don't know enough about it. I know, to catch or prevent uncalled for stuff, whatever it may be, it should only be those ones who should be punished, not the innocent ones. Now, apparently, both parties are putting out, saying stuff. All that is being shown now, I'll explain, is Trump said something saying other party, if they don't back down. And then the other party is saying everything is all Trump's fault, and etc. It's the same old stuff. Okay? Now, only parts are shown, but not what was really said. I don't know who did it. That, ones have to take a pay cut. And, for military, I saw that was listed. Social Security and etc. Because it's apparently I heard before that people have to get their security and all that, whatever else, before. Okay, why? But you wouldn't get full. Anyway, even if you get whatever it is at your age or a certain age. That I didn't get. I'm going to look that up too because, for that, people worked. And that's like income for them. But I'll look into that. Both parties should work together anyway. And truthfully, who is with Trump, and the other parties, they're both working together. I believe they are working together. But the ones, of the both parties that are out there, I'm saying parties because I'm trying to not have this long, meaning the Republicans and the Democrats, okay? So, you get what I mean. So, I believe that who's with Trump, and it's both parties, are working together, okay? Now that we got that. But it's the ones who are out there, both parties, who are saying, but don't work with them or involved with it, are saying and who also is having the feud and getting Trump and all them, the both parties, involved. Okay? Now, again, it's the same old stuff repeating. But all I can say is, what I got out of it, no one should lose a job. If they are not part of doing things through their job or the government's job. Unless you are ones who are giving out the lies, stealing, sending ones to have access to government stuff, to create fake accounts, and much more. They're the ones who should be punished. Okay? Not everybody. As I said, I will find out the truth. And technically, no one knows why whatever is being done anyway. Also, it could be Trump, and all of them are changing out to help us and crack down. But they should only go to those ones who are doing it. Don't get innocent ones. They're already getting innocent ones involved. And I'll explain that later on. But, you don't know what's happening. You see, don't judge before you know, really. As it goes, some things do have to be quiet for reasons. But people do need to know the truth, though. But even if it's very little, until everything gets done and solved or whatever is happening, and then we get the full reasons why. I mean, I don't know why people have to start things, truthfully, and get everybody riled up and not just work together. But anyway, I also spoke about all this. And I spoke about, everything that I was around. But I also saw a video of different things that brought up what I spoke about. And the video was, and what I spoke about is the fears. What women and children are supposed to do. What men are supposed to do. As I said in other videos, fear is speaking, fear in speaking, fear not going, to church, or you will go to, where. Children are to be seen and not heard. Women only cook, clean, have babies, and can't voice anything. You didn't have to know about anything. Some I saw and was told you can't dance, drink, and etc. But they did all that. Now, I also got, God sees everything. But they say it to put fear into everybody. Now, all who listens, to my voice, to my videos, heard me say that God in spirit sees everything. Yes, that's true. And yes, I did say that. But not to put fear into people like others do. The difference is theirs are twisted into fear. Mine is when you do anything to harm anyone and whatever else. God sees that. Sees criminal acts. Sees who when lies are told out of jealousy, hatred, anything that is done on purpose. He sees when people are having fun, dancing, and much more. Now that puts a smile on his face. I'm not saying don't go to church, but don't stay out of his home either, for long. He's there for us to feel safe, to be with him, to not forget his home, and to stay on your path and your purpose. I'm not saying stay with who takes the Bible and twists things and does the opposite, what they preach, and etc. That's the difference. You don't stay with those people. You stay with the ones who are speaking from the Bible and not harming people. Because I'm seeing too many. What is this? You're mad at somebody. Who gives you the right to just go in there and start shooting people? Really? You can go in just to sit there and feel, spirit, your loved ones, and him. You could visit the statues. Now make sure that they're the true statue and the true cross, too. You could tell the difference when it's a real church and when it's not. Look it up. You could visit the Blessed Mother. It's home away from home. Everyone gets what I'm saying. All churches, only you would know who preaches and twists to fear people, who does the opposite, and much more. All aren't bad, and stop saying it. It's called anyone who does wrong should be confronted. Now, again, depends on what, will be the be punished. Who's doing it all? Because of one, it don't mean all. And the church is itself. Now, when I say church, there are so many different sayings for church. And I did explain in one of my other videos what to look for and to know who isn't who they say they are. To know God, Spirit, they are around us to help keep our faith and to visit his home. And you will feel something different, especially when you need it. And you go to his home. And you haven't been there in a while. If you happen to go when Mass is, then listen. What, is being said. It might be an answer. You want it or need it. Somewhere in there. you'll know whatever the question is that you asked or you thought of. Because you wanted something, then whatever it's about, it will be mentioned in there along that mass. Everyone at one time was healing, trauma, fears, and some still are. Those ones who did help those ones, and some who didn't yet. Think about it. The reasons why fear of God was put. And it's not to be afraid of him. When you have someone who you're afraid of every time you're around them, or whoever, what do? Do you stay away? You avoid them? Wherever it is, could be, a party or whatever, right? Okay, the thing is, you know about that one and you should stay away. So, what do you think when they say stuff about God? They want you to stay away. Why? You get God, you get, God don't like that stuff. God says he don't love you. You get, what else everyone gets. It's different things that people say to everybody. Or, you don't do this, God will punish you. Stuff. So, what is said, which are different to different ones. Now, what is said about Lucifer? The other name for him. But really, you get everything. This is what Lucifer does. You get everything. But ones will say, you need to change, say, your faith or something. That they don't tell you whatever you have to do. They don't tell you. Are you being told to say, say that? You sold your soul? Do they tell you that? Whatever they tell you to say, or, or do, because Lucifer will get you everything and do everything, but God won't. just to join their groups. But do they tell you what you just did? They don't tell you that you just sold your soul. They don't tell you who you just prayed to. No, they don't. You need to balance the light and the dark. You need that. Yeah, I explained all that in another video. And I also said Lucifer and God, yeah, are different. And I also told you that, you know, well, I forget what I said. That they both work together, but Lucifer does the bad stuff, and all that. Blah blah blah. Lucifer, Lucifer naturally teaches you the evil and bad. God teaches you the light and the good. Lucifer is temporarily. God isn't. Now with getting with, promises, getting ahead and etc. Between truth and lies. Who do you think has that and what? You see, truth gets you far. Same as doing good things. Lies get what? Who is doing lies and etc. That goes with, it gets temporary things, temporary feelings, and etc. Like when ones who try to ruin, harms, and whatever else, they lie to people to get them to help them. And whatever you do, and etc., you start getting things. But, eventually it catches up. They don't tell you that, do they? Let's not forget causing illnesses, death, and more. We know where that is, in whatever way. You get, the what? What you took from them watching how you destroyed people, right? You get satisfied, and that promise and more, right? That's why you did all that, right? Sounds great, don't it? Well, if you truly know between right and wrong, how far is too far in doing and etc.? How far? Okay, then you'll know that Lucifer and God, when you went too far, like really, then you'll know that Lucifer and God, or I should say God and Lucifer, does come together. Especially when it's way too far that you went. You see, they both will, and I'll say karma. That's what I'll say. So that's even when truth and lies come together. They do what? Do you know? Okay. If you don't, you don't. But you will. And it's not an easy lesson to learn. See, if you're doing all this and you joined with whoever, and they didn't tell you, but whoever you're doing it to or whatever you're doing told you, well, you didn't want to listen. Well, now you'll get not an easy lesson to learn. So all I can say is stop lying, stop what you were told, to be in fear, doing things you didn't like, but done it. And now you're doing because why? You can? And now all children picks up all whatever and teaches, to other children and whatever, and does to each other. It's one thing. No, go lay down. Oh, go get your baby. Hurry up. It's one thing that needs to stop. Really? Oh my goodness. Hold up, guys. Sorry. Okay. It's one thing that, needs to stop. Or when adults do crap also. Lies gets you in trouble. Truth keeps you out. Lies keep you stuck in the past, as in you are repeating whatever. Truth keeps you going. It teaches you to lift people up, others up. You see the difference? Now, I'm not saying God or yourself shouldn't lie. And I'm not saying that it's a sin. But as I said in other videos, certain things, yes, you have to lie. It could be a surprise birthday party or any party or anything. But you don't lie to keep a bully continuing or have anything continue to harm people and etc. to anybody. I never said any of that. God already knows who will go way too far. Hold up. Hold on. So, like I said, God already knows who will go too far. It's us who will allow it or not. Whoever, put fear into others, guess what you will get back. Hold up. I don't know what's going on. Sorry. Anyway, you got bullied and teach kids, and they do what? They do it to other kids. Guess what you get back? Let's say it again. Let's say, you'll get, if you were bullied, you taught your kids and you do it to others and whatever, blah, 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 because you did and didn't, whatever. Because now it's an ongoing thing. Guess what you're going to get back? You see, what you know, these ones are trying to run from, and they do it to others to what? Make yourselves feel better? Also, how does anything you're running from teach anything? Hold up. Anyway, whatever you're trying to run from, but you're doing it to others. To what? For what? To make yourself feel better? How is anything you're running from teach anything except is it making it even more worse than before? And not nipping it, something in the butt? Why is everything continuing to be worse or make it worse, especially whoever's doing it? Why would you make it worse instead of nipping it in the butt right away? And you're also teaching kids not to be responsible. For what? They're doing it because they see others doing. And I also said all this in my other videos. And so has other people. Don't teach anyone, especially kids, still, could be, meaning of words, missaying them, and etc. Yes, a lot of people does that, mispronounce words. Everybody does. But I explained that in my other videos, that it was done on purpose. I'm not speaking about that. That, like I said, a lot of people can't pronounce words or whatever. That's normal. I'm speaking about, I'm not going to get into it. But as I said, I'm speaking about it's done on purpose. I mean, teach anything. I mean, why don't you teach, if you're teaching anything, teach what could happen if you continue to do stuff that you're not supposed to. Take bullying. Oh, wow. Can teach them that bullying constantly could lead to what? Suicide. What needs to stop. Like I said, it could lead into anything, especially if it is suicide. Now you have blank murder charges, which could be life or death for whoever's doing it or did it. Drinking and driving, keeping up with friends, partying while at school, which is really expensive. What are kids learning? They aren't going there just to party. Because what? They hear stories, how fun it is, and etc. But they don't hear the truth. Like, they don't keep up with their grades or whatever, and they get kicked out. They don't hear that part. I'm not saying that they shouldn't have fun. But tell them, it's also harder and it's different from, K through 12. That because of things, being taught or mispronouncing words and blah, blah, blah. And then you get I'm not going to go there. But anyway, people just, slide through. But when you go to, an expensive college or wherever, it's not like that where you just slip through. It's one thing again. Here, you have to keep up on your work assignments and then go have fun. They should be taught, to know to watch out for each other, no matter what semester or whoever it may be. You all watch out for each other. And I'm not saying for the ones that are doing that. I'm saying for the ones, they all need to be independent, yeah. But don't be careless either. Do you know what they do? You're not there. It's one thing a person needs time, for themselves. It's one thing doing for others. It's not to take advantage with or anyone either. And you know, don't tell anyone that they are selfish because they need a few minutes to themselves, especially if you're the one who takes, you know, all kinds of moments to yourself and the others take care of you. See, in the past, yes, it was especially for women. They made where, to have them feel guilty for taking a break because saying the man only worked and some, yeah, it's done if a woman works too. It's still the same. That's, you know, that the woman has to do everything. Now, I did all that in another video where, and I'll say a little bit, but this is why both should work together. Some did it because women are stronger, they say, to do all of it, whatever. And what women aren't supposed to get is tired because we're stronger. Yeah, okay. I'm not saying all does that, okay? But this is out there. Ones who did see all that and is doing it. But, haven't you really seen anything like what it did to them? Whoever's doing it out there, didn't you ever see what happens to them? See, you grew up with a single parent, or you had your dad or one of them, both of them there. One did everything. You saw how tired they were. You saw what was going on. So why would you carry it to your family, your marriage? I mean, it's like with anything, really, what things can do to you and what it does to others. Now that's being selfish, done on purpose, and etc. Everyone is thinking mostly the same. You're figuring out life to provide for your family and yourself. If ones are struggling with whatever fears and how to escape from whoever, there's a lot of people going through on their own. That's why we need to come together and help each other. It's not just one or whatever. We need to start telling ones right instead of wrong. Think about it. You keep telling ones wrong, what do you think will happen? Like I said, telling wrong could end up not good. You could be putting them in harm's way, telling people to put ones in harm's way. Advices, same thing. If you're going to give an advice to be, you know, whatever your business, and you know what you are doing is wrong, again, what do you think how it will turn out? And plus, if you're working, you have a business or whatever, why would you lie to somebody just to get, never mind. Anyway, instead of neighbors, anyone being nosy, be protecting, be there to protect each other. Say stores, okay? Stores, helping each other. How about having something like a sale or whatever for one's communities and etc. Schools to have, as in, say, security, cameras or whatever. Anyone sees anything, go ask if they know who they are. You get what I mean? I mentioned a whole list in one of my videos, how to protect each other. Start speaking up. And I'm not just saying stores, companies who makes, the security stuff, to help build up and keep each other safe. I said to put, cameras. Well, I'll explain that, but in a few minutes. But to help protect, it takes less stress, arguments, and etc. to help protect than argue and get into fights and etc. Start stopping stress, problems, and much more instead of making them. It's only more worse for you anyway if you keep on making problems. It comes back even more. And that guilt you don't care about, whoever, you don't know them, and they won't know. Okay. All that right there, you will also have that plus whatever you have done to come back to you. Now, with the security, can be put on streets that covers the whole block or street, hooked up to the police station, and what people have, they get security cameras and etc. And what people have as whoever they're hooked up to, and to the police station, who they have, so it will be double of security. Everything should be well lit, at all times, and for both, even where it's not, like entrances to to woods, parks, and wherever else. Hold up. Sorry about that. I had to do something. I know why she's acting up. Well, they are. Anyway, everything should be lit up. You know, parks, woods, and wherever else. I'm not saying, for anyone to lose money or whatever. It's called figure out something. This is, the safety for everyone. To be safe, to stop whatever, and ones who are, doing, ones who are bored, jealous, and hatred, and thinking that they can come to people's homes and etc. You get what I mean? It's the safety for, like I said, everyone and families. I spoke about this before, the apps and the other ones need to be safe too. As I said, and what I said in all my videos, I said all kinds of things that needed to be done and ideas. Companies, ones who have accounts, and whatever workers, admins, and etc. cannot tell anyone to have access to all this. For ones also have admins, and you put stuff up with your phone, right? You put stuff up with your phone. Hold up. Sorry. I'm just about done anyway. Now, if you put something on your phone or whatever, obviously, it don't show. It don't show it, that it's yours. But no one should have access. Also tell admins, whoever that puts up that, oh, this goes to whoever's account personally and directly to them, though, which I know it don't, but don't lie about it, that it actually does. If it is for that person, tell them. I'm not saying everything is urgent or whatever. And you get what I mean. If they don't, hold up. But if they don't know what's going on, like fully, Don't tell them, to put things up of half of something either. Don't ever assume when you don't know what anyone is going through, especially if they went through it and still healing from, say, what you're going through. But you chose to do what they chose to do on their own and not get back to anyone or do to others. You have ones that just continue to do and, try to heal, move on, but they don't get back to, get revenge on others. And ones who are healing and etc., they might not get back to people. It could mean, all different things. But, whatever's out there, like this stuff, don't tell the real people, real accounts, a person, to put things up halfway. And they actually don't know the full thing of why. And first of all, I'm not saying everybody does it. First of all, if you have managers or, I don't know, admins or whoever, you should know what they're doing and what's going on. And making sure that they're doing stuff right. Because again, you don't know what some admins are doing. They might know your ex, or they might know, whatever, or they got mad at you for something because you didn't stop by because you were wherever, all kinds of stuff. And then they put out there, how do you think things are working out? How people are getting access? Because of cruel people that have jealousy, hatred, and etc. I mean, whatever. But again, this isn't putting a community or the world together by doing all this. There is so much that's going on, and ones who isn't saying anything, with some, yes, is being smart, and they know who they are. And what I'm speaking about, but then you have, as I said, they are giving one's access or telling one's gossip, lies, rumors, and it gets around to make up more. This needs to stop. Stop and trying to ruin someone's reputation and whatever else. Stop lying about anyone to have one stalked and much more. These ones who do that, the stalking and etc., you should be ashamed of yourself to do that and should be caught. Stop with the teen years. What one say about puppy love, it's you like a person and could be one-sided. But the word no means no, which means you don't have permission. We are not together, and it could be, anything that is, just common stuff. Stop putting your own definitions. Wow, this is bad handwriting. On whatever, just to have whatever backfire in the long run. Stop buttering whatever up, as in, well, I'm tired. I'm looking for a job. Etc. And someone says, oh, okay, I'll do it. I'll work more hours till you get a job and more. But no, you're taking advantage of someone. You didn't hear what was said that they are doing, while you don't lift a finger to help with something. And you need to respect what each other does and work together. Especially if you want a relationship or be with your person. And it's also with everything or anything. Don't lie and sit there and say, oh, I'm going to find a job. Oh, blah, blah, blah. But take advantage. Go do whatever with your friends and all that. And then yell and scream at that person who is working, paying all the bills and etc. And get mad at them because they saved money or whatever. No. But then get mad because they break up with you, and it took you a while to even notice that they even left. But then, you get angry or start stalking and cause all kinds of stuff. Please. Stop being petty, trying to pull one over someone's eyes, and much more. Unless you want it to backfire, not like you thought. What was done, it is in the past. Okay? Learn from it, heal from it, teach others how to, do something, and go make it better. As much as it hurts, laugh about things and say to yourself, they thought they will bring me down. No. Not today or any day. You count on God, your faith, and yourself, and the village that we are all building to protect each other, do things together, build up our community or whatever. As I said in the beginning of this video, and been saying it, and I'm not the only one. How many and whys? The how many are going to be before anything gets done. The whys are, why didn't I say anything? Why didn't I call to put a stop to whatever? As I've been saying, you messed with the wrong, now in my case, you messed with the wrong one. When you messed with me, and it is going to be your last thing you will ever do again. That I can guarantee. And Spirit and Guide can too. Now for everyone else and a person who stays to themselves. Okay, now this is me also. Don't bother getting into people's business unless it's called for. Well, now it's called for. I stay, as I said, to myself. So I love speaking to God and loved ones, spirit, ancestors, angels, and whoever else, which you're not going to know. Since that's who I have to speak to. But you see, I know we are making progress. I know we are all coming together. And I know for the ones think they can stay in the past, who are Karens, bullies, and much more, that you think there's no help for you, that no one wants to talk to you. Well, if you don't live in the past, stop doing things to others and continuing to do, to stay in what you were taught to be, as mentioned. I mentioned it all through. And I also mentioned, to be racist, to be, to harm people, to steal, and much more. That you think it's better? No. More you stay in it, you won't get help. Everything will be temporary. Instead, change, you're the only one. So let's be the only ones and come together to make that village. Be part of it instead of thinking you're the only ones. Be the only one who comes together with the others. I mean, this way everyone can have no fear, to have protection, and much more. It's getting out of control. These ones think they are switching it up to full more and more. Let's put it to an end. You know who these ones are? And it don't matter who knows. Put it to an end. Stop stop the trigger. Happy. Judging. Getting wrong ones. Stop lies. And research or check it out. Whatever it may be. especially who gives orders with who and etc. Yeah, I heard that. Good luck. And etc. should be only one instead of hearsays and gets into making mistakes that causes lives. No one gets found, you know, gets put back on the street that shouldn't be. And ones who should be isn't. So again, why is this being done? Why are you risking your own careers, lives to ignore what needs to be? You know, needs to be done. Back then, it was you did something, whether it was, a child or an adult. You were punished. I mean, and everything was good. And what I can't stand is back then, and it's still continuing, men aren't allowed to have feelings because then they weren't men. They're not men. BS with that. And stop living in the past. And what was told, this is how it should be. We are better than that. We learned from the past, which cannot be changed. We are making it way better. Ones are coming together. We broke all the bad that was attached to our ancestors to live better, comfortable, protected, and more. So let's continue. Instead of pretending to be someone, as I said, why pretend? You could be who you are. Like, you pretend to be a celebrity, okay, or whoever. By doing that, you're lying. You're love bombing, taking money from ones. You be you. And if you want to be rich or have money or, I don't know, get to there, then use your own name and keep thinking you are getting there. Live as you and think you are someone, like that and more. And guess what? You will be there. If you're doing it, to ruin someone, pretending to be them or was with them and now not, again, move on. It wasn't meant. Okay? For what I said with all that, I know all are capable of doing better. And if I can, so does Spirit and God and etc. So you need to see and know for yourselves. Like I said, believe in yourself. Not the ones who just talks and puts whoever down, which they went through it. They've been around it, and now they're stuck in it. If you realize what you do, what you say, and you know that, because what? It helps to forget what you're going through. Remember, it's only a short fix, and that fix is causing more to come back to you, okay? Depending what you have, ruined your own lives, ones who are with you or around you, and more is getting added to the list you didn't bother to see. Not only how many and whys, for yourself, we all should be together and solving or combining to have it better. If you didn't start, you need to before it becomes too late. You might not be able to get help unless you go directly to God. Depends on how far you went. You need a lot of work done to, for God to help. But like I said, you need to speak through spirit. Like I said, before I feel, I said I felt something in the air. Well, now it's getting even more. And spirit is coming more powerful to teach whoever a major lesson for whatever it is that, what you did and still doing. I mean, look around. You will see. Like I said, how many and whys? For someone to take anything serious that some, you have to nip it in the butt right away. Some are from ones getting involved and has no idea about others because they talked and lied to them into it. How many companies know what workers or whoever are doing? How many, and probably all, have not got any complaints or whatever sent to you? How many don't really care? You know how many times a day I call different places and get transferred because they ask you what, and you tell them, and then they tell you you're in the wrong department because the automated brings you there when you didn't say that department in the first place. Then you finally get to the right place. But not one transfers had nothing written down. Not one. Okay? You have to say all over again. For what? For them to say, oh, I'll take it. I have everything sent. I have everything written down. And send it to, corporate or whoever, that owns whatever. Then find out because you didn't get an answer and you call back. But the thing is, not one piece of notes or a ticket for what you are putting in was not filed. So how is it that, and how is it that fake ones get access and a lot more? For those ones who think they can and have permission to, to do stuff through your accounts with the whatever company, to change things, to add things, and etc. But the real company, when you finally get to them, they have no idea. And then, oh, I'll take care of it, but nothing gets taken care of. And for, like I said, for these ones, who think they have permission to come to my door and ask about it. And then you tell them, oh, okay, I'll look into it and I will call you. But the thing is, that call never came. Okay. And then you call up. Oh, we know that somebody stopped there, but we don't know who. Okay. No one never heard of these people. Okay. But they're from their company. And, you say you will look into it. Now, everyone says they'll look into it. And we will call. But nobody calls. But I like to know everything that you call up about, nothing gets done. Well, first of all, we shouldn't have this with your company, first of all. And then others, well, no, no. And you send proof that you paid it every single time. And no, you don't have that many TVs, but they know that, or whatever. And they know that it isn't even in your home, but nothing gets done or taken care of. You don't get phone calls that they found something or did something about it. No. The only calls you'll get is for the problem or issue or whatever that's not even the person's or customer's fault. How's that? Thing is, how is it that, people get calls galore about an issue that has been confronted to them, but ignored to take care of it, but still want the people or customers to take care of it. Where, when, somewhere along the lines, like, I don't know, one of you made it because they're taking it out on that customer or giving access to others. Like I said, gee, this is so interesting. And not one company or whoever knows about it, and nothing's getting done. Huh? And I never seen companies, you can't get a hold of them. Anyway, you either have to do it by email or whoever answers the phone, who don't know what corporate or whoever owners' phone numbers are. Well, I like to know if you're writing all this down and you're saying to get to corporate or whoever, the owner, to take care of it, because this is an ongoing thing, well, then how are you doing it? If you don't have phone numbers for them, for a customer to take care of it themselves, since nobody knows what's going on because nobody writes anything down. But then you ask, okay, where do you send the proof? And when you know it, it is the same email that they say is corporate or whoever, the owners. Huh. Okay, whatever. How's that? You see, I was trained when you have, not done anything, you get to the bottom of it. And believe me, with some, I did. And with some, those ones opened a can of worms because it's the same. But I'm getting to the bottom of it. But with everything, it's being with, you can't imagine. But who is in their hands, well, I don't know about them, but what I'm doing, it's for fun, as I said. With them, it's not. But when it comes to thinking, you are going to come for me constantly, to think I'm going to back down, think again. But remember, what I do is for fun. Finding out, it's for myself. With the others I have, they're not doing it for fun, point blank. And you know that I'm the wrong one to mess with. Also. So just to let those ones know, those ones, they know when I'm getting the runaround and much more. They know all that. And so do I. I mean, it's funny to me. It's not like, I didn't know. I get what I have to, and I can get from anywhere. So, as I say in the beginning, the innocent ones with all this problem, you know something? You better start letting HRs know, corporates know. And you know what? Since this is an ongoing thing, if you know someone, whoever you know that works there and what's going on or owns the companies, as I said, how many innocent ones are being involved from, because ones are doing illegal stuff, harassing people, changing things on people, ruining people. So, how many will it take to start speaking up and not by what's being put out there that ones make up and edit for it to, get everyone in an uproar? How many jobs being let go and etc.? Companies should be involved instead of shutting down, letting ones go and cutting whatever based on lies, false reports, or just not getting any, anything given to you with the truth. As I said, you see, they're not giving you anything because they think they are covering themselves, not to, giving all the complaints or whatever to corporate or the right ones. Why? There's the why. Okay? There are different ways or reasons for how many and whys. So with this, how many, who is going to get to the right ones and explain, do you know what know this that's going on in your own company? And if you know who's doing it, tell them. Someone knows someone, like I said, who does or owns wherever what's going on at their places. I say because not one where, problems are. You can't get through. You can't get through to them. And I'm not speaking about everything as in, everywhere. But you need to, if you know people, everything that I mentioned, if you know people, you have to let them know themselves, because you never know who you're speaking to, because they're not putting it out, they're not giving it to the right people. What's being done, like say with foods, department stores, government, and etc. How is, all these fake accounts, how they getting, people are around people and see it, but you're all missing it and ignoring it. Why? Because it's not being done to you? Or maybe, it is, but you're afraid somebody put fear in you, blah, blah, blah. You know how many people put fear into me with this BS? Because they're coming after me. First it started out with something little. Well, if you don't pay me, or, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Oh, I'm going to send this, I'm going to send that. They don't know who I know, first of all. And I don't take scare tactics. Okay? I know every game people play, every, I'll just say BS. I was trained to know and recognize. So if you know anyone, that owns or works there, as in like, I don't know, partners or something like that. I don't know what else, but management, HRs, or whoever. If you know them and you know who is doing what, they don't need to know. Start putting things in and have them look, who and what they're doing. But, people need to start speaking up. This is going on too long, too far. All customers or whoever are only getting the runaround. And whatever problem was is now even more added. How can that be? Anyone? Yeah, okay. We need to nip all ones who are ruining all your jobs and more, that aren't, anything, that aren't doing anything. But these ones, they are getting all of you involved. Not saying it's everyone, but you know what I'm saying. Put a stop to it. Also, what I get when I say not all comes up, when I speak about it, like that one in the beginning. Where I say, what was it? It was about the Democrat, the both parties fighting and arguing and blaming each other or whatever. I don't know, but I don't know, but you know what I mean. When I say, and I said it in the other one where I said that I was going to go check it out because I only got half of it or not even half, and I needed to speak about it, to put it out there. But I mentioned it, that I have to look into it or, like I said, check it out. So I want to know, is it happening to others? Then, think about it. So you tell me, especially if it's not with everyone else who gets the same, where they're only getting half of stuff, like edit it or edit it, forget it. You know what I mean? So to end with this, what do you think these ones are trying to do? Not only that, what do you think they're trying to bring back? Here's some. I see. Having ones lose jobs, health care, license, income, all ways to pay their bills, to give food, provide for their families, and more and more and more. What do you think? What do you think they're trying to do? You see, those ones go by stories they hear and think it's not going to affect them. Or, oh, it's nothing. It will go back to normal or whatever. But in the meantime, everything is happening. You know what's going, what they're doing. But it doesn't faze them. So, what are we going to do? I gave ideas and etc. Not only in this one, but in others. So think about it. How many and how many whys are there going to be? Like, really? Anyway, I thank you for everyone coming to the end and actually listening. I thank you so much. And I thank everyone who does visit and for being here. I hope this helps. And again, thank you. And I am proud of all of you. Continue. Don't let anyone say who you are. They're only assuming or telling you who they think you should be. You know yourself. You be you. Ciao.